Blake Production.
Gang, what is good? Galaxy Digital Holdings. It is a massive week for shareholders. It's a massive week for the Galaxy gang in general on Twitter. I imagine Twitter is going to be wild this week. I'll preface some other stuff before we get into the technicals, but overall, one thing I want to mention first, DeFi gets uplisted this week. I think it's super important for Galaxy shareholders. Let's take a look and pay attention to how DeFi will perform post its NASDAQ uplisting, which is tomorrow. This could give us some sort of, insight to how Galaxy might perform. Now, I think, I'm just speaking from my opinion, but I think Galaxy has a lot more room to run versus a DeFi. It's a lot more established in the industry. It's a name people talk about more and has more weight to it, right? They're a lot more of a broader kind of exposure asset versus a DeFi. Not saying DeFi is terrible, not saying they're amazing. These are just opinions I've been forming over the years of watching the stock, paying attention to the space, etc. DeFi getting uplisted to the NASDAQ is bullish for Galaxy. Noah, what the fuck are you even talking about? There's probably people who are going to rage after me saying that on X. The reason why I say that is because it feels like 2025 is going to be the year of the NASDAQ uplisting, especially for crypto equities. You're starting to see a little bit of these SPACs and these, IPOs come out onto the NASDAQ and they're exploding in performance. I think the same thing is going to happen for crypto equities. I think a lot of them will get uplisted. A lot of them will perform well. And I think that gives us the opportunity to, make that kind of a trade. You could probably trade all these crypto equity uplistings onto the NASDAQ and roll the profits into another until this kind of dries out. I think that's going to be the theme of 2025. Now, when we're looking at Galaxy, right? So it's this Thursday we uplist, I believe. So it's the 16th. I don't know whether that's a Thursday or Friday, whatever. Friday, I believe. That's the day we uplist. Tomorrow we have earnings for Galaxy. Who knows if they drop some news that we weren't expecting. Overall, I'll start getting into the technicals now. Everything looks extremely strong here. You start to add in this macro environment, and it's like, damn, how does this name not perform extremely well over the summer plus into the end of 2025? But you're looking at like the tariff nonsense come to an end. Trade deals are being made. We're starting to see a bunch of ceasefire news come out across the world with war and shit, and US is trying to be a big mediator in that sense. That's bullish macroeconomic news. Markets tend to, like shit like that. When we're looking at, the crypto space, over this entire year, crypto's been mad bullish. We got the strategic Bitcoin reserve. We got a digital asset stockpile. All we really need now, add to that, we have a mega pro crypto, government and cabinet, right? All we really need is a stablecoin bill to be established. And we're off to the races. Fuck. We start printing money. We start lowering rates. You see Bitcoin above 150K. Dude, all these things combined together could be just a giga bull run. It really could be. Again, let's hope everything, continues that way and things do pan out in that sense, because that'll be massive for Galaxy. Now let's get into the technicals. That was a little bit of rambling. I do apologize. Long-term, big picture perspective, this is what we're looking at. Massive neckline here, a massive resistance point, and we have this inverse head and shoulders that's been developing since 2021. It's taken a long time to develop this, but it's here. right? It's right in front of our eyes. I don't give a fuck what you say. It's there, and it's right in front of us. We have this inverse head and shoulders that's right here. The Nasdaq uplisting news came out April 7th, I believe, that week. Look how strong we've rallied since then. Like, you could feel that there's a rush to come in before the uplisting. Why would you want to rush before the uplisting? It's because post uplisting, it's probably going to go berserk. That's what we're expecting. On a flat neutral basis, like not overly optimistic, just regular kind of Joe Blow guy looking at the stock, I'd be looking for Galaxy to stall around this range at the uplisting price, uplisting day. We get up to the $35 range, let's say this week. We uplist, we go as high as maybe 50, and then we consolidate. And that is a very potential, it's super possible that something like this happens. I wouldn't get frustrated if something like this happens. Again, if you're looking at it from like a 4-year long pattern that's been developing, that's exactly what you'd want to see. Like, that's probably one of the most bullish things you see. I get that, you know, we've been waiting a long time for the NASDAQ uplisting. Everyone's going to be super euphoric about it in the culture of Galaxy, but don't be disappointed if something like that were to happen. I know we all want to see this. Straight up, we all want to see this. Like, dead ass. Like, come on now. Of course we want to see this, man. $175 Galaxy? Of course I want to see that. Will it happen just like that? Probably not. If it does, fucking congrats. But let's be fucking real here. Like, let's be realistic on what we're expecting. We've been lucky enough to have such a technically sound stock. Some people complain a lot on X and say the stock makes no sense. It's hard to read. It's underperforming, blah, 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 blah. To me, it's been super sound, right? We have the clear uptrend, higher highs, higher lows, follows the 21 in the 8 EMA. We have a bear market. We consolidate and create a massive accumulation zone. Again, it restarts. We have a trending stock, continuously making higher highs, higher lows, follows the 8 and the 21. To me, it doesn't seem like it's performing terribly by any means. So I feel lucky enough to be able to, have had this opportunity thus far. So back to looking at it from a realistic perspective. Let's say we get something like this. We get the overshoot. We break all-time highs, but then we consolidate for a few weeks. This is digesting the whole NASDAQ kind of uplisting news. That's what we're looking for. This is my most likely scenario, in my opinion. Maybe we potentially see just, instead of a more kind of structured breakout, maybe we see something that just now continuously does something like this, right? That's also a potential as well leading into 2026, where we just see Galaxy do something like this, right? Where it just continuously goes up. I'd say we would be maybe in this section of it, right? After, like around here. That makes sense. Maybe we get something like that, right? That's another scenario I'm looking at. Overall, I don't think there's a bearish scenario, unless, again, I don't want to be extremely, pessimistic, but like, unless all this trade news persists, the tariffs happen, there's wars being started, there's negative GDP prints, there's all this bearish shit starts to go on, it's hard to see, a bearish scenario for Galaxy. So that's the breakdown. That's what we're looking at. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, big congrats to the gang. It's a super exciting week. Let's kill this week. And let's see what happens Friday. It's going to be a hype Friday, that's for sure. Easy, guys. Peace.